Hello everyone, this is Lolly and I am so excited to show this to you. This is a Memory Dex box that I've just created for my Adventures of Dexy series. Adventures of Dexy is when I take this cute little bear right here on all these adventures, and I figure what better way to showcase these Memory Dex cards than in this cute little hippie van. Why don't you stick around with me and see how it's done. So the first thing I did was I printed this off. Of course, this is not true to size because clearly your pieces need to be bigger. I have some pretty thick chipboard here. The sides are a little longer than the middle or the bottom of this box. And that is because by the time you get these two ends on here, it makes this a little longer. And so I cut this down a little bit to about 8 7/8. But the best thing to do is to kind of do this, measure it, and then compare it to the side piece and trim this down just a pinch, just a sliver, until this matches what's on the side panel here. I just guessed about 8 7/8, but pretty much the measurements of or the thickness of your chipboard has a huge impact on this. So if you don't use even your chipboard and you use like a thin weight cereal box, for instance, it's going to be a different thickness. It'll create a different dimension. So this is kind of a guess. So the base is 4.5 by 8 7/8. The two side panels are 9 by 3. The front and back are 4.5 by 3. And normally on a Memory Dex box, I do not go up this tall. And that is, I'll show you why. That's because when my card's behind there, I like to see a little more. Here's a front one. I like to see a little more of my card sticking out. So what I'm going to do, but I needed it to be this tall because of my project that I'm doing. I needed the stability, and I needed to be able to add my van pieces to it, or my camper. Then I am going to just raise the two wooden guides a little higher than I normally would. So in order to make this attractive, we can cover this all in white paper, or we could paint it white, which I'm going to do off camera. Now, just so you know, you do not have to put runners in a Memory Dex box. You can just use it as a box and just set them in there like this. Here's an example. They're just sitting in there, so it's totally up to you. If you want runners, you need to get a 1/4 inch wide dowel rod. Try to get one that's smooth or not warped. And you can see by the way this rolls across the table that it's doing a good job. Remove all the staples that were in there from the price tags. And then we will cut these down to just what fits inside the box when we're done, which is too premature right now. Also, if you're going to use those, you're going to need 2 pieces of chipboard that are double thickness. So it's 2 sets of chipboard, and they need to be about 1 by 2 inch, and that's what I have here. And those are what are going to be on the ends, short ends, holding this dowel rod in place. So I painted everything, and then I made what I call my strips here. 4 of the 1 by 3s, and you can see that little asterisk there. They go here, 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 and here. And then 2 of the 1 by 9s, and you can see by that pound symbol, they go here and here. And then 2 of the 1 by 4s, and you can see by the @ symbol that they go here and there. So if we move this and get these kind of laid out where we need them to be, it goes this way, and you can see that I did just trim this down a pinch so that with these it should be the same width as the length as this. So this goes here and these go here. So the strips are 1 inch wide. I've scored them all down in the 1/2 inch lengthwise. This is where those all go. So I've scored them down, and I've used 1/4 inch tape. I want to show you something about tape. It does get dry and brittle, and here's an example. There's no stick. There's the sticky part there, and there's absolutely no stick to it. It was a junky brand to begin with. This is the scrapbook.com adhesive, and I believe I still have some in my shop. But that said, I always like to combine liquid and tape. I do not put liquid glue over the adhesive part of the tape. No. talk to a adhesives manufacturer. They will say, do not put liquid glue over your tape. Put it in the places where the tape isn't, okay, like in this part here. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to connect this to this. As a matter of correction, I made a mistake. I said these are supposed to be 4 inches wide. There's 4.5, and I did measure mine wrong, so I need to correct that. And that goes here. What I do is I put my scissors right in the middle and aim at the points just a little bit toward the center and bevel those off a little bit, kind of like an arrow. There we go. Now let's do this. Now I am a little particular about this in that I want to glue it to here first. Method to the madness here. I got to peel this off. Might need to use a better glue just because we're adhering this to painted wood. But again, the tape is going to help. Burnish. Okay, peel. You know what would really be helpful, and if you have tried it, I would like to know how it worked for you. And that is that we are makers came out with a system that actually holds your chipboard pieces together like this while you're making a box. So I would like to know how that is working for you, if at all. Okay, now I'm just going to put these on, but not necessarily adhere them yet to the sides. Again, glue where there's no tape. I'm just putting this here to get it ready. Okay, that's going to hold that on. And now we're going to put this one on here. Actually, what I'm going to do is these are going to be last. So let's come over here and do the bottom. Hope you can see this. Now, another thing you can do too, if you really want, is to put decorative cardstock on the bottom. It would be really adorable. Not necessary. You really won't see a whole lot of it. Okay, move that out. I'm going to hold that up temporarily. Put one of these on the side. Okay, now I'm going to glue these side pieces on. I love using these. We need to talk about scoring, by the way, and burnishing. Burnishing is having a flat surface against a flat surface like that, and to burnish these tapes on there. If I have a really rounded surface here, and I'm doing this, there's only one tiny little point that's actually connecting with the table. I am not hitting my target. Same thing with doing it this way. There's only one tiny little piece that's hitting. That's why I use this. I don't think that's going to hold up no matter what I do. So let's just go ahead and do this. Got to center that to make sure it's the right length everywhere. And you'll notice a gap in there, and that's normal. When we close it, it won't have a gap. Now, any little flaws in the painting, I'm not worried about. I made a design, which you saw at the beginning, and that design is going to get glued over this. So you see how that's going to hold these two together? So now I need one on this end. It doesn't matter which side it goes on. And I need one at this juncture right here. I know it's all white paper. It's hard for you to see that. The end product will be so cute. Now, because I'm going to do this juncture, I'm going to pull these together. I'm going to go ahead and squirt a little more white glue in there. And on the cardstock. And just to give this a little extra help, right there. Same thing here. And again, the tape is holding that in place well enough, so it's not like it's a real panic here. I think I better do both of those. Okay, so there is our box. Now what you can do is measure, and probably the best thing is just to get a pencil here or a pen. Let's see if this will work. Put this in here and see exactly, don't push, you know, don't want to bow them out, and measure right where you think that needs to go. Okay, now once you have that, use one of your old craft blades. You know, like if you have one that's dull and getting ready to be replaced, use that, or a box cutter. Find your mark, put that on there, and just push down and roll back and forth. And eventually you will get there. Or you can take it if you have some, you know, wood cutting instruments. And then you can smooth this out with your sandpaper, and you want to get another one identical to that one, because you need to if you're going to do runners. And look for staples. Okay, they're on the piece that I haven't used. They work pretty well, and I haven't even sanded them yet, so I will do that. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and punch our holes for this. So we need 2 holes, and we need to mark where our holes need to go. And the best thing to do is to grab one of your Memory Dex cards. Don't put it all the way to the bottom. You want it a little higher up, like this. That way you're not scraping the bottom of your box. Center it left and right, and then just mark that. And I'm going to draw a line right down the middle. You'll see why. And this Memory Dex card is part of a kit from Susie West, and she makes the most adorable Memory Dex cards. I'm going to give you a link underneath to the video I did about her cards and her club kit. So now we need to punch those holes. If you have one of these 2-hole punches, it does a pretty good job cutting through the chipboard, but you really can't see where you're going. So take that line and center it right in the middle of that post and punch down. It seems to punch really close to the depth that I need. However, we're going to check and make sure. This one looks a little off to me. We can correct it. Okay, you see there, I feel like I'm a little bit off, so I'm just going to punch it again. Okay, now I am actually, because my design is different, I'm going to be putting these up a little higher than usual. Normally I would put them like down there, right against the bottom. But let's get our design here. So this is a digital SVG from Doodlebug, and this is going to be like a little car or van for my Dexy Bear, and I have used Dura-Lar for the windows. So this is going to be the front, but I have made these tires. These are like wooden blank checker pieces that I painted black and then white, and then put silver cardstock there, and just this flat black piece that I've had in my stash forever. So since I have my own tires, I'm going to cut this off and lower this all the way down right there and glue it on. So just so I can see how high that's going to be. Now, because this Memory Dex system is going to be for the adventures of Dexy, my little bear here, I wanted to have something like this little van. I think this is going to be so cute. Oh my gosh. And I did the side view here and added some flowers, which weren't part of the design. And I have the other side as well. These are just hole punches. I do want to say something about this cut file. It looks symmetrical, but it's not. you can't take this piece, for instance, and flip it over, or this piece and flip it over and have it match. It doesn't. So it's just a little bit of a design flaw, just enough to create a little bit of weirdness with your project, just saying. Okay, now this is going to be the driver's side. Cutting those wheels off, it's going to go right here. Mark that again, if I can. This is going to take a lot of glue here. So I originally had thought I would make the box just ever so slightly shorter, like 1/8 of an inch, and I just thought it would confuse you too much to have too many 1/8 inch measurements there, so I just made the box 9 inches wide. But you could see it's still really, really cute. Okay, and same thing here, cut these off. I should have used the bigger tip on that instead of the itty bitty tip. Okay, now what we're doing with these tires, I want to go ahead and put this in. Now, the reason I waited is because I thought, as tall as this project is, I might want my cards to sit up higher than all the way down to the bottom. For instance, this is one of the cards that I have made her. And maybe if it's down here, you're not going to see it as much. So I think I might want to get that up right about there, which would make this. It's not bad, really. It's not bad at all. I thought I'd have to raise that quite a bit. Now I do want to center this, so that's another thing to think about. So we said this was 4.5, so I want 2 1/4. Okay, here's what I'm doing inside the box. I'm measuring this high up off the bottom of the box. That way I know that's where it's going to go. Now, I really want this to stick in there really well. I think I may go ahead and switch to this Power Tack. The main thing is I'm trying to get it centered left and right, and that's not easy to get my fingers in there. If I had known exactly where I wanted to put that, I could have done that before gluing the sides to the box. It would have been easier. Okay, let's put a wide Dex in there just to make sure that that's going to be centered just a little over. Okay, now I'm going to flip that over and do the other one, but in order to do that, I'm going to have to glue these in there with it at that time, because I won't be able to get these in otherwise. So here's what I'm talking about. I'm going to put these inside here like that and then glue it in. So I think what I might do is put a little squirt of the, not E6000, the Power Tack inside of these first. Okay, and then in my sticks go. Okay, now I'm gonna flip that over, get that measured. Now, there you go. There are your runners in there. I'm not going to put a card in there to show it to you just yet because I don't want to dislodge them as they are setting up. I didn't do anything for the back because it will be sitting on a shelf like this. So now to show you how I'm going to put these wheels on there, I have to figure out, I'm going to mark on the bottom here where I'm going to place these because I want them to be placed evenly. And so if I put that right there for this one, I'm going to mark 3 inches is where the back of the tire goes. And then we should just do 3 inches from both ends then. Okay, like this and like that. Is that too close together? Let's do 2 3/4 instead. Oh, I think I'm going to like that better. Okay, let's look at that and see if we like that better. Okay, so I'm going to glue 2 on this side, and then flip, when those are set, I will glue the 2 on the other side. What I want to make sure, I'm going to glue all the way to that centerpiece there. And I realize that this is it's recessed, so I'm adding plenty of glue in there. Okay, now I have to wait for those to set up about 20 minutes before I can flip this over and do the other side, but that is just coming along too cute. So I glued those on, flipped it over, and glued those ones on in the same way, and I did make sure that it wasn't going to wobble side to side like a chair with one bagged leg. Put the cards in there, and Dexy is ready to roll. Let me know in the comments what you think. It is such a cute way of doing Memory Dex. Thank you everyone for watching.